As you saw before in the lineage of King James, they had to sort through a lot of illegitimate children. This is a real problem. And like I said, these are no friends to the king. You know, King James wrote to his son about sodomy in the Basilicon Doron. He said, there are some horrible crimes that you are bound in conscience never to forgive. Witchcraft, willful murder, incest, especially with degrees of consanguinity, and he's talking about pedophilia, and sodomy. It was common for kings to be petitioned for pardons for certain crimes, even crimes with which the death penalty was prescribed. In 1605, James was presented with a long list of people wishing to be pardoned for various crimes, including manslaughter and sodomy. James pardoned every man on the list except the sodomites. Previously, monarchs had pardoned wealthy sodomites routinely and even covered for their despicable acts. James believed the law of the Bible to be a final authority. Please turn to Leviticus 20:13. Leviticus 20:13. In Leviticus 20:13, it says, if a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, and they shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. James and his government put witches, sodomites, pedophiles, and murderers to death. And if our country did that, we'd be a lot better off. You know, a lot of people point to other things in King James's life, and they say, well, this proves that he was a sodomite. These weird things that happened. One of them is that he slept with men in his bed, and it's true. You know, as a king at the time, you had people that were trying to kill you. And so they had this thing called a king-size bed. And in that king-size bed, your bodyguards would sleep with you. Because your bodyguards were there to save your life, because they would pay people, they would bribe people to kill the king in his sleep. You know, Henry VIII slept with 4 bodyguards in his bed, the most notoriously womanizing king in history, and no one has ever accused him of being a sodomite. You know, he said that James openly kissed men in court, and he did. You ever read the Bible? Greet ye one another with a holy kiss? Yeah, he'd kiss them on the cheek. You know, Erasmus wrote about this a lot. He said that anytime you went anywhere in England, you were greeted with kisses. You would line up and get kissed a lot.